You ever have one of those nights where everything that can go wrong does, and the cold just makes it worse? That was me, 17, freezing, just trying to earn enough to not get locked out of the only room I could afford. I was pedaling through Maple Brook, streets shiny with black ice and the wind biting hard enough to make my teeth ache, and I kept thinking, just one more delivery. Just one more night with a roof. But then I saw him. Some old guy, alone at a busted-up bus stop. Coat too thin, hands shaking so hard the paper he held looked like it might rip right out of his grip. I tried to keep going, telling myself I couldn't afford to stop. My manager had already warned me, one more late delivery, and I was out. But, you know how guilt works. My mom always said, if you see someone who looks forgotten, you stop. And even though I told myself not tonight, even though my stomach was growling and my phone kept buzzing with threats from my boss, I spun my bike around and went back. I asked if he was okay. He could barely answer, kept mumbling about bus 23 to Willow End, and looking so lost it hurt to watch. His shoes were falling apart. His scarf barely did anything against the cold. I looked at my phone, late already. But no way was I leaving him there. I got him on the back of my bike, wrapped my scarf around his neck, and started pedaling toward Willow End, even though it was uphill and way out of my way. He just kind of smiled, and for a second, the cold didn't feel quite as mean. We must have looked ridiculous. Me, all bones and nerves, pushing a bike not meant for passengers, him barely hanging on, both of us shivering. We got sprayed by some jerk in a car, and when I cursed, he just laughed and said, people are wild, always have been. I tried not to think about the time or my missed delivery. My brain kept fighting with my heart. What if I get fired? What if this is the one good thing I do? All winter, we talked a bit as we made our way up the hill, both of us out of breath. He told me his name was Arthur, that he used to walk these roads years ago, before everything felt so steep. At a closed-down gas station, I spent my last coins on hot chocolate, and he insisted I take the first sip. You'll need it to keep pedaling, he said. We laughed. Real, belly-aching laughs, and for a minute I felt lighter, like maybe the world wasn't all bad. When we finally rolled up to his house, this white gate covered in ivy, I could barely feel my legs. The porch light came on. A caretaker rushed out yelling his name, and Arthur just grinned, said he went for a ride, I suppose. I left my number on a scrap of paper, just in case, and slipped away before anyone could thank me too much. I didn't want anything. I just wanted him to be safe. But when I got back to my boarding house, my stuff was outside in the snow. Rent late. Lock changed, the note said. I knocked and begged, but nobody answered. My fingers went numb, my chest felt hollow. Everything I owned fit in one bag, and I had nowhere to go. I messaged my boss to beg for my job, but he called just to fire me. You're not paid to play hero, he said. That's when the laugh came out of me. Harsh, hopeless, not really a laugh at all. I wondered until I found a convenience store. Still open, hoping for a little warmth. The old man at the counter, Harold, saw I was desperate and let me work stocking shelves in exchange for a few hours inside. The younger manager, Evan, glared at me like I was trouble. Later, when money went missing, Evan blamed me, even tried to call the cops. My heart about fell out of my chest. But Harold found backup footage. It was Evan who'd taken the cash. He kicked Evan out and let me stay in the back room. I slept on a cot, finally warm, thinking about Arthur and what a mess my life had become. Next morning, this black car pulls up. Out front, a man named Charles comes in, looking for me. Turns out Arthur's not just some lost old man. He's a billionaire. He sent Charles to find me, still holding on to that little scrap of paper with my number. They bring me to Arthur's house, and he thanks me, says he wants to help me now. Offers me a place to stay, a job, even help to finish school. Says he wants to start a foundation to help kids like me. I didn't believe it at first. Stuff like this doesn't happen to people like me. But Arthur just smiled and told me, let someone help you for once. I started working for the Maple Light Foundation. I had an office, a warm bed, and for the first time in my life, I felt like I belonged somewhere. But you know how people are. Soon enough, rumors started flying. Some folks thought I was scamming Arthur, using him for money. Evan, bitter about getting fired, spread lies online. Suddenly, everyone had an opinion about me. Reporters showed up, the whole town buzzing. It hurt a lot. But then Harold posted the old security footage online, and the truth started to come out. People who doubted me started apologizing. Donations came in. The foundation grew. We opened centers all over the state. I worked with kids who were just like I'd been, cold, hungry, scared, needing someone to believe in them. Arthur's health faded, but he never stopped believing in me. Before he passed, he made me promise to keep Maple Light going, to keep the light on, he said. At his funeral, I told everyone that sometimes family isn't who you're born to, it's who you choose to walk home with in the dark. And I meant it. Years passed. The work never got easier, but I got stronger. Maple Light became more than a foundation. It became a second chance for hundreds of kids. Every time I saw someone walk through our doors and find hope again, I thought of Arthur. The cold bus stop. That old man who needed a ride home and ended up giving me a home too. You know, it's funny. One act of kindness in the middle of a freezing night changed everything for both of us. People still talk, still judge, still get it wrong sometimes. But that's okay. I've learned you can't control what the world thinks, but you can control what you do. And I'll keep choosing kindness, even when it costs me. That's how you build something that lasts. So, yeah, that's my story. And if you've ever wondered if a small good deed really matters, let me tell you, it echoes a lot longer than you think. Now, before you scroll away, tell me what you'd do in my shoes. Is kindness still worth it, even when the world pushes back? Drop your thoughts below. I'd really like to know where you stand. The funny thing about second chances is, they never show up the way you expect. For a while after Arthur's funeral, I'd walk through the halls of that old house and catch myself listening for his voice, waiting for him to come shuffling down the stairs, humming that same tune he used to hum back on that freezing night. But all I got was quiet, the kind that settles in your bones and makes you question if you're doing any of this right. Maple Light became my anchor, my everything. I woke up early, handled paperwork, met with volunteers, ran programs for kids who, let's be honest, reminded me a lot of myself. I told them stories about getting through the cold, how sometimes the world closes a door but leaves a window cracked if you look hard enough. It was good work, real work, the kind that makes your heart heavy but full at the same time. But you know how it goes. Peace is never permanent. The internet had barely quieted down before some folks started whispering again. There were those who thought a girl like me didn't belong at the head of a foundation, especially one started by a rich old man. Some of them even tried to dig up dirt on my past, like growing up poor or making mistakes was some kind of crime. I try not to let it get to me, but when you walk into a room and see people look away or hear your name in someone else's mouth, it stings, you know? One morning, Charles showed up with a letter. It was from a girl named Brianna, 16, couch surfing after her mom lost their apartment. She wrote, "I saw you on TV. If you could do it, maybe I can too." I sat in my office for a long time just staring at that letter, thinking about how all the pain, all the nights spent freezing and doubting myself, somehow turned into hope for someone else. That's the thing nobody tells you. When you survive something, you end up carrying a light for people who aren't through their darkness yet. Brianna became one of our first scholarship students. The day she showed up, hair tucked under a hoodie, arms crossed, trying to look tough, I saw myself at 17, skeptical, proud, hoping nobody could see how scared I really was. We talked in the garden behind the center, her eyes darting everywhere but mine. I told her, "You don't owe anyone an explanation for needing help. You just have to decide what you'll do with it." She didn't answer, but I could see the walls coming down. Just a little. Of course, not everyone wanted to see us succeed. Evan, remember him? Tried to stir up more trouble, this time calling reporters, saying the foundation was a front for who knows what. He even sent in an anonymous tip to the city about improper activities. I laughed when I read that one. If hard work and telling the truth are improper, I guess we're guilty, I told Charles. We weathered that storm, too. Harold even showed up at a city hearing with stacks of records and a speech that made half the room cry. "If you've got questions, ask me," he said. "But don't you dare doubt this girl's heart. Sometimes, the world needs reminding, loud and clear." You want another twist? That same winter, we nearly lost our funding. A major donor got cold feet after reading some blog post, and for a couple weeks, I thought I'd have to let people go, close programs, maybe even shut our doors. I sat up late one night, staring at the foundation's bank account. feeling the weight of every kid, every family counting on us. And just when it seemed hopeless, the letters started rolling in. $20 here, 50 there, handwritten notes from people all over town. My grandma said you helped her neighbor. My nephew got a job because of your program. This is all I can spare, but I want to help. It wasn't a miracle, just everyday kindness stacked up. And somehow it was enough. That spring, we held our first community day. Families from every corner of Maple Brook showed up. Kids painting faces, old folks playing cards, everyone laughing like they'd forgotten how hard life could get. I stood on the little stage Arthur built before he died, looked out at 100 faces, and told them, "This place exists because you kept believing in each other, even when it wasn't easy." I wish you could have heard the applause. It wasn't about me or Arthur anymore. It was about all of us, everyone who'd been knocked down and decided to stand up anyway. And I'll tell you something, I still ride my old bike through town sometimes. Folks wave now, call out my name. Some remember the girl who delivered groceries in the snow. Others only know the foundation, the scholarships, the after-school program. It doesn't matter. What matters is that I stopped for someone once, and now the world keeps stopping for me in return. So yeah, I still get scared sometimes. There are days when I miss Arthur so much it hurts, or when I wonder if I'm in over my head. But then a kid like Brianna walks into my office, nervous but hopeful. And I remember why we do this. Why kindness, even when it seems small, is everything. You might not believe it, but second chances are real. Sometimes they look like a ride on a cold night. Sometimes they're a stranger with a hot cup of chocolate. Sometimes it's just the stubborn hope that tomorrow can be better. But they're out there, if you're brave enough to stop, if you're kind enough to care. So, tell me, would you have stopped for Arthur that night? Or would you have kept going, head down, chasing your own survival? No judgment either way. But I'll say this. You never know which moment's going to change your whole life. Drop your thoughts below, share your own story if you've got one. And if you ever find yourself alone in the cold, just remember, sometimes help comes from the last place you'd expect. And hey, if you're still here, maybe hit that like button, leave a comment, and share this story with someone who could use a little hope tonight. You never know who might need it.